Our sun's energy fuels the process of evaporation and transpiration of water from the land up into the atmosphere. This atmospheric water vapor eventually collects together and returns to the land in the form of rain or snow. Once back on the ground, gravity pulls water downhill, converting potential energy into kinetic energy, the energy of motion. Over time, water moving in a stream collects, erodes, tumbles, and deposits vast quantities of sediment. Landforms created by moving water should be thought of as temporary, for they are prone to both slow and sudden change as flowing waters work to constantly relocate the sediment and debris it has provided. These river and stream, or fluvial, processes shape the surface of the earth and create unique landforms and surface sediment layers in and around streams and the valley bottoms they flow through. We define the active stream corridor as the lands shaped by fluvial erosion and deposition under the prevailing flow and sediment regimes. Dominant processes within this boundary are lateral and downstream channel migration, scour of the floodplain, and deposition of alluvium and organic debris. In other words, the modern geomorphic floodplain. The active stream corridor integrates a number of different fluvial processes and hazards. These processes manifest over a range of time and space. Dominant fluvial processes within this boundary include channel incision, channel widening, channel evulsion, lateral and downstream channel migration, bed and floodplain aggradation, and channel braiding. Depending on the stream you are studying, the active stream corridor may be delineated by different mapping and data synthesis techniques. For the Colorado Water Conservation Board's Fluvial Hazard Zone Mapping Protocol, on which this video is focused, there are 4 methods described for delineating the active stream corridor. The first method of mapping the active stream corridor is referred to as the Headwater Protocol. This method is used to map moderate and high gradient, confined first to second order streams without a discernible geomorphic floodplain. In these small streams, the active stream corridor is simply defined by a setback on either side of the stream center line. The setback buffer accounts for the dominant fluvial processes that occur in these types of systems, channel incision and channel widening. The second method for mapping the active stream corridor is the Fluvial Signature Protocol. This is applied to second to third order and greater streams with a discernible floodplain and valley margins that are definable and influence the location of the stream corridor. This approach utilizes observations made in the field coupled with remotely sensed data to delineate the active stream corridor. In these settings, the active stream corridor captures fluvial processes including channel and floodplain deposition and stream bank and floodplain erosion. In mild-sloped, unconfined meandering stream systems, we recommend a Meander Belt approach for mapping the active stream corridor. The Meander Belt protocol identifies active stream corridor by buffering a meander center line to account for the dominant geomorphic hazards, down valley, and lateral channel migration. The location of these fluvial processes is generally limited to a predictable corridor in these types of stream systems. Finally, where there is a high degree of urban development that has modified a stream corridor, and where human actions have altered the stream's natural trajectory and geomorphic response, we apply an urban protocol for mapping the active stream corridor. This method utilizes data from past floods in urban areas, along with estimates of stream power to delineate an active stream corridor, where channel widening and limited planform adjustment are anticipated. Whichever active stream corridor method is utilized, the corridor delineated should capture most of the lands that may be influenced by the storage and transport of water, sediment, and debris as it makes its way from higher elevations down to lower elevations. One additional major component of the CWCB Fluvial Hazard Zone Mapping Protocol, the Fluvial Hazard Buffer, attempts to capture the significant remaining hazard that results from natural stream processes. The Fluvial Hazard Buffer is applied to the outer boundary of the active stream corridor. The Fluvial Hazard Buffer accounts for hazard-prone land, such as hill slopes and terraces, that are adjacent to the active stream corridor and may be susceptible to slope failure or erosion that is directly aided by fluvial processes. In Colorado, flood damage to properties and infrastructure as a result of hill slope failure and erosion within the Fluvial Hazard Buffer is all too common. Many of the homeowners whose houses have been destroyed consider their properties high and dry, unaware of their exposure to this kind of flood hazard. Additional flood hazards also exist in or adjacent to Colorado stream corridors. We call these auxiliary fluvial hazard zone components. They're important to understand and map as they've resulted in costly damage to Colorado communities over the years. We'll now explore these auxiliary fluvial hazard zone components. The Evulsion hazard zone. Evulsion hazard zones are used to predict and delineate the area a stream may occupy and impact due to a wholesale shift in channel position on the valley floor so that a new or secondary channel forms. Channel evulsions are natural events resulting from deposition, erosion, or a combination of these processes. Evulsions can be driven by biotic and natural factors, such as large wood ice dams and sediment deposition or scour, as well as human activities such as gravel mining, water diversions, crossings, and road networks. Valley-scale evulsions are particularly important to recognize in the fluvial hazard zone mapping process, as they are hazards that extend outside the active stream corridor. Because of this distinction, it is generally only possible to identify evulsion hazard zones in unconfined and partially confined reaches. Not all stream corridors will have these hazards, but if and when they are mapped, they're important to recognize. Fans. Fans are triangular or cone-shaped depositional features that generally form where steep drainages meet a milder sloped valley with a larger stream, such as at the confluence of a tributary stream to the main channel. They may also form at the outlet of a canyon or wash into a larger valley or Piedmont area, and at the foot of topographic features such as mountains or mesas. A reduction in sediment and debris transport capacity at these locations causes the material to deposit and over time form a fan. Fans can affect and influence fluvial hazards in several different ways. The input of sediment from fans into a receiving channel can cause aggradation and channel braiding in the reaches downstream. If enough material is deposited, fans can push a channel away from it, leading to erosion and possible hill slope failure on the opposite valley margin. A substantial fan deposit can also lead to further flooding and aggradation of sediment and debris in the main channel upstream and possibly create an erosional condition downstream, undermining stream banks and infrastructure. In the Colorado Fluvial Hazard Zone Mapping Protocol, significant fans that contribute sediment to, have the potential to influence, or already influence the fluvial hazard zone, are identified with a point at their apex. The boundaries of fans and the hazards that exist on them are not mapped with this protocol. Geotechnical Flags. Geotechnical flags are lines that are mapped to identify areas where fluvially induced erosion may assist in initiating a hill slope failure well beyond the reasonable boundary of the fluvial hazard zone. They denote a potential hazard where detailed geotechnical studies by professional geologists and engineers may be warranted if development is proposed in the vicinity of these flags. Like fans, geotechnical flags differ from most fluvial hazard zone map units in that they do not represent an area within the fluvial hazard zone. Rather, they are notations along the outside of the fluvial hazard boundary to indicate where there is potential for hill slope instability induced by fluvial geomorphic processes. As such, geotechnical flags do not delineate nor define the expected extent of hill slope failure. Furthermore, geotechnical flags do not identify all hill slope-related hazards within a study area, nor do they denote all areas where detailed geotechnical studies by professional geologists and engineers should be conducted before proposed development takes place. Disconnected active stream corridor. In some instances, certain infrastructure may restrict fluvial geomorphic processes from acting upon areas that were historically part of the active stream corridor. In these instances, areas that would have been mapped as part of the active stream corridor, but have been disconnected from fluvial processes through the establishment and maintenance of certain engineered structures, are identified as disconnected active stream corridors. Mapping disconnected active stream corridors may be useful for planning and restoration efforts, as they provide information about where reconnection or conversion of land back into an active stream corridor might be possible. While this boundary is intended to identify where lands may no longer be impacted by fluvial geomorphic processes, it does not make claims on whether the area within is subject to inundation flooding, groundwater upwelling, or other hazards that may still exist. Not all streams will have these auxiliary fluvial hazard zone components, but all mapping efforts must assess if these components are present and map them if they are. An examination and summation of all of these components, the active stream corridor, the fluvial hazard buffer, Evulsion hazard zones, fans, geotechnical flags, and disconnected active stream corridors is needed in order to produce a complete fluvial hazard zone map. Discussion of these hazards should be included in a map addendum or other reporting provided along with any map work that is done. That concludes this introduction video. The Colorado Water Conservation Board is committed to assisting communities that wish to map and manage fluvial hazard zones by providing technical guidance and grant funding. If you're interested in having your community's river corridor mapped, please contact the Colorado Water Conservation Board to learn more. We thank you for your interest in the Fluvial Hazard Zone program and encourage you to learn more at www.coloradofhz.com.